All right, all right. Welcome everybody to today's webinar. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate you spending some time with me today. I'm excited to dive into today's webinar. It's going to be valuable, super impactful, especially if you're looking to acquire cash flow. You're wanting another vehicle to help you build wealth. And I'm literally going to dive into arguably the number one vehicle that can build cash flow and wealth very, very fast. So I'm super excited to dive in. I'm going to wait a few minutes because typically on these webinars, we have a lot of people showing up late and coming in during the first 5 minutes. So I don't want anybody to email me or text into our office, be like, hey, I missed the first 5-10 minutes of the webinar. Can you tell me what happened? Or can you send me the webinar replay? So I'm just going to wait a few minutes here and also find out where everybody is joining me from as well. So as you're diving in, or if you're already here, let me know where you're joining me from. Let me know here in the comments what city and what state that you're joining me from. And you know what? I'm going to take off this terrible visual effect. And you guys can see my office, which is a little bit of a wreck because I'm building a bookcase and I'm rearranging some photos but all good. I'm real and raw. So, we'll make do with it. So Carlos, thank you for being here, man. Prescott, Arizona. That's awesome. I'm in Arizona. I'm in Phoenix myself. I also see Mike from Georgia. Great to see you here, Mike. Thank you for joining. I also see Praveen from Indiana. Awesome. I actually have family in Indianapolis. Carson Industries is the name of their company. Cool story, just real quick about them before we dive in today. They really have like a niche, like in Indianapolis. They manufacture police sirens and have an exclusive agreement with the police force throughout Indiana. So they've done, very well for themselves with that. So very smart move by my uncle and aunt that run that company. Jason, thank you for being here as well from the great state of Massachusetts. So, that's awesome. I actually still have Boston on my bucket list, and I'm actually looking at a High Rocks competition in Boston. So this way I can go check out Boston while I'm there as well. Amazing. Mark from Nebraska. Amazing. Good old Cornhuskers. I actually have a really good friend from Nebraska, from Omaha, and he's one of the best people I know. So Nebraska, you guys produce some really good people. And then we've got Michael, currently in Denver, but he lives in Michigan. Cool. Yeah, my mom's she was born in Pontiac, so that's great. And I love Denver. I can see why you're visiting. I try to go to Denver a few times a year, especially in the winter, so this way I can go over to Vail or Breckenridge and shred and get some snowboarding in. Awesome, guys. All right, I'm going to give just maybe another minute or two, and then I'm going to go ahead and share my presentation, and then we'll dive in today. If you've already told me what city and state that you're from, if you don't mind being transparent and sharing, I know it takes a little vulnerability maybe to share this, but I also feel like that this could be very impactful for you too as well. That's why I'm going to ask you to do this. Let me know what your primary motivation is, when it comes to being on this webinar and buying a business. Like, what is that? What is that? Let us know. Put it out there into the universe. I'm a firm believer that if you speak to something, that you're going to make it happen because you're speaking to it and seeing it as becoming something real instead of just a possibility. So let me know, what your primary motive is for being on this webinar and wanting to buy a cash flowing business. Okay, so Carlos, thank you for chiming in. Appreciate it, man. Seems smarter to buy a business versus starting from scratch. 100%. Starting from scratch, you've got like a 90% failure rate. Plus, it takes a long time and a lot of work and a lot of resources to start to get that traction to the point where it's actually a substantial business. It's much quicker to buy a business and you're stepping into cash flow literally on day one. Mike says passive income. Awesome. Yep. This is definitely the place to be. So you made a smart decision being here to learn more. Phenomenal. All right. Okay, guys. So here I'm gonna I want you guys to kind of really follow along here. Okay. So I just gave you guys in the comments a worksheet for today's webinar, and there's a lot of fill in the blanks. So So we're going to turn this into a very like class oriented webinar. This way you get lots of takeaways from this webinar. So if you want to participate, I highly recommend it. Download that worksheet. This way you can use it on today's webinar. I know it would be more powerful if you do. So, so it's in the comments. I just posted it. Definitely open it, download it. And this way you could fill it out, as we go through today's webinar. And then I want to acknowledge a few more people before we dive in for engaging. Praveen, multiple streams of income, 100%. Hey, just buy a few businesses. There you go. Then you have multiple streams of income. I love having multiple streams of income, and anybody else can do it. So that's great, man. That's great. Cool. All right. Well, let's dive in, guys. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Let me know when you guys can see it. I want to make sure you guys can see it clearly. So just give me like a thumbs up in the comments. And Michael, more time freedom. Yes. Yes. I mean, look, everybody, we all have maybe 75 to 80 years of life, right? So does the universe really want us to grind our entire life? Or do they want us to have abundance and to live the life that we want to live? Time freedom, this can get you there. And in my opinion, everybody should have that. And Praveen, to answer your question, is the worksheet fillable? Yes, it is fillable. So feel free to download it and then you can fill it out. I believe it's digitally fillable too. So just let me know if you have any issues with that in the comments. I'll try my best to multitask and get you squared away. All right, so let me go ahead and share my tab. Let me know when you could see it. All right, this is going to be fun. Okay, here we go. Got it. Perfect. Okay, can you guys see my screen? Give me a thumbs up if you could see my screen. Just want to double check that you can. So give me a thumbs up if you could see my screen. And then I'm going to take my last sip of water before I talk for a good maybe 30, 45 minutes. Okay, Carlos said, not yet. Nope. Oh, here we go. Now you should see it. The webinar software was a little slow. So, okay, cool. Everybody's giving me a thumbs up. I can see it now. Great. Amazing. Okay, perfect. All right, guys. Okay, so today's webinar is how to buy a cash flowing online business in the next few months without starting from scratch or risking your life savings. So welcome. Thank you for being here. And before we begin, I highly recommend that you shut down any distractions. You turn off your phone notifications, put it somewhere away from you. Like my phone's way over there. So this way I don't see it. I'm not tempted by it. I actually am reading a book right now, just a little tangent here. I'm reading a book right now, and having your phones near you causes an impulse to want to check it more often. And so it's great to just put it somewhere else, especially during important moments like now, where you can literally, by the end of this webinar, be well on your way to buying a cash flowing business. Okay. So I highly recommend, something like that. This way you can get some space and not have that impulse. Also close any extra browser tabs and give this your full attention for the next, we might go up to 90 minutes because of Q&A, just depends. Don't worry, we don't have 90 minutes of content. So you're not going to hear from me for 90 minutes, but Q&A may carry us for a good 20, 30 minutes because sometimes it does. So I'm prepared to be here until 1:30 my time. So this will be maybe up to 90 minutes. And so let me go over what you'll be shown today, okay? So you'll be shown today how to go from 0 deals to owning a cash flowing online business literally in 4 months or less. And this is without experience because I've helped people that have no experience do it. This is also with creative financing because there's various ways to use creative financing to be able to buy a business. So I definitely want to help you be able to do the same. And also this is following a proven evaluation framework as well. Okay. So this is our screenshots of our portfolio. And this is a portfolio that is a company that is a 2-time Inc. 5000 company. We won the Inc. 5000 award the last 2 years. So we were honored as one of the fastest growing companies in America. We were actually even number 16 in Arizona out of all Inc. 5000 award winners out of Arizona too. So we're one of the fastest growing companies in Arizona and also in America. And a big part of that has to do with us being able to acquire businesses and acquire cash flow. Because acquiring businesses is one of the fastest paths for a business owner to be able to scale and grow your business. Now, for anybody else, it's one of the fastest ways to be able to create cash flow and also create wealth. And this webinar is going to explain how you can do that too. Okay. So the proof is real, as you just saw. Screenshots for revenues. We're doing real revenues. We've done over 30 million over the last several years. So we've done a lot of revenue just by buying businesses and also growing these businesses organically at the same time. And I want you to just take a moment, during this to really imagine where your life would be if you had a portfolio. I mean, obviously, you got to start with one, but there's no reason why you can't have three. You can't have more. And if you had the same exact system I use, but simplified and structured, anyone can follow it. And we've seen that. And you'll hear from some other people that have done this, working with us, that have had success in doing so. So I know you can as well. Also, be sure to stay until the end of the webinar. I've got something very special for people that stay through until the end. That's going to make this even easier for you. Okay. All right, let's dive in, guys. So let me introduce myself. I'll keep it super brief. I'll explain more about my story throughout, but I want to make sure this is value first. So if you don't know me already, my name is Josh Marsden. I'm a two-time Inc. 5000 winner with my company, ARM5 Formula Company, which is at arm5formula.com. We own a portfolio of e-com companies. We're working on amassing an e-com portfolio of businesses that we can roll up into an e-com aggregator company, which we are, to be able to take it public. We also want to become an agentic AI first e-com aggregator. This way we can make a big splash in the public markets later this year, because we're planning on going public literally later this year. And this way we can then help all of our investors, all of our shareholders see a nice ROI from their investment, and they can also stay along for the ride as we scale the business to $1 billion market cap by 2029. Okay. And since 2022, so I've been in the business since 2013, but first 9 years, I was literally just helping e-com businesses. I've helped thousands of e-com companies scale and grow through online events, coaching, and also client services. But then in 2022, I made a big pivot. I stopped selling services because I knew I could not build wealth doing that. And I started buying businesses, and I've been doing it ever since. And I have had 19 business acquisitions since. These are all e-com brands. These are e-com brands on Shopify, on Amazon, direct-to-consumer brands. So I've had a lot of experience buying businesses over the last few years. And as I mentioned before, we've had over 30 million in sales since 2022. And this is not, revenue for clients. This is not managed spend. This is our own companies. This is our own portfolio. This is our own sales. In that process, I've also raised capital fairly effectively. I've raised 8.2 million from investors using digital marketing and getting on webinars like these, and just building strong relationships with people that believe in our vision and want to be a part of it. And as I mentioned before, we've been nominated twice for the Inc. 5000 over the last few years. But here's what matters most. It's not just about my results. It's about whether this system works for other people too. So with that said, I'm going to go over multiple students that have closed deals. I'm only going to show you a few. I'm not going to show you all of them because that could take some time, but I'm going to show you a few. This way you can hear from some other people that have also gone through the process and have had success going through the process, where people have literally left their very successful career to be a business owner because they wanted time freedom. As someone, I believe is Michael, mentioned here in the comments, he wanted time freedom. This way he can really spend more time with his daughters, because he felt like his career was impacting his relationship with his daughters. He already voiced to it impacted his marriage, which unfortunately did not work out due to his prior career. So he went through the process, and now he is building relationships with his daughters every single day in his business, and he's got time freedom. So it's not about me being special. It's about the system being special. And today I'm going to hand you that system. Okay. So like I said, this is my quote, and I'm going to say this over and over. It proves that this isn't about me being special. It's about the system being special. So here are some real student results. So this way you're not just taking my word for it. I want you to hear real stories from people just like you. So let me make sure you guys can hear this. I might have to make some adjustments to this webinar software just to make sure you can hear it. So give me 1 second, and let me just make sure that you guys can hear my screen. So I'm going to actually stop sharing, and I'm going to reshare and see if an option comes up here. And if not, I might just post the YouTube here. So just give me 1 second. All right, so here we go. Okay, also share tab audio. Perfect. Okay, good. All right, so it is doing exactly what we want it to do. Perfect. All right, just wanted to double check. All right, so here's the first one. Oop. All right, here I'm also gonna play this one as well. I'm gonna play it on YouTube this way you guys can see the full video. Otherwise, it's gonna be very small. So here we go. I'm gonna actually just skip ahead, let you hear from Jason instead of hearing from me. My bad. There we go. All right, guys. Well, you just heard from them. Give me a thumbs up or raise the roof even if you like those testimonials, if you really identified with those testimonials. We'll continue here. So, and here's the typical ROI breakdown. This is literally a conservative example of a first-time acquirer using our process, the ARM5 formula acquisition method. Okay, typically, someone coming through our program is going to buy a business kind of like this. Typically, it's going to be a business doing 50,000 a month in revenue with 15,000 a month in profit, and the price of that acquisition is roughly around 150,000, maybe more, maybe even a little bit less. And then you're going to put anywhere between 0 to up to 30K down. Could definitely be 0, like Dirk, for example. We know how to strategize and we know how to structure the offer to get you a 0 down offer, so we can definitely help you do that. But it could be fully financed too through one of our lending partners, or you could put cash down. So there's many different ways to get a business without having to spend any money out of pocket. You can use specific strategies in the offer, or you could even just finance the down payment, and we have lenders that can help you do that. And then after that, after the acquisition, you end up with 10K to 15K, maybe more, in free cash flow every month, basically like an additional income coming into your life every single month. It could be more than that. It just depends on your buy box. Everybody has a different buy box. Again, this is like the average first-time acquirer. And then after that, you now have, after you bought the business, you have an 180,000 in annual income coming in because you just bought that business. And also on top of that, after scaling the business, let's just say you just double it. You just double it over the next 12 months. Now that business is worth 1.26 million versus what you bought it for, because of the fact that you've doubled the profits from 15K to 30K. And also because we've optimized the business to maximize the multiple you're going to get. Instead of getting a low multiple, you'll get like a 3.5x multiple, because e-com businesses can get up to a 4x multiple, or even more if it's doing more than 10 million a year. And then now you have a 7+ figure asset that you can sell with our help. And that could be obviously very, very life-changing for you to get a wire into your bank account for 7+ figures. Okay. So this is the typical ROI breakdown. Okay. Now, a few stats here. There's 1 million plus boomer-owned businesses expected to sell by 2035. 48% of boomer owners plan to exit within 3 years, and this is according to Cornerstone last year. Also, there's 10 trillion in private business assets coming to market right away. This is called a silver tsunami. This is baby boomers selling their business, basically. Okay, and as I mentioned before, I already gave you a bit of a snapshot. We have various e-com brands on Shopify, Amazon. They're all direct to consumer. And these were all acquired using the same 5-step system that I'm about to share with you today. And most of these businesses too were acquired with creative financing. Like, for example, the last acquisition, which is a company doing over 5 million a year, we bought it for 210,000 down. Now, I don't expect you to have 210,000 to put down, but that just shows you, like, you could buy a very good, big business for very little money down. Okay. Also, most of our businesses required even less than that. Like the first, 5, 10 acquisitions we made, we didn't put any more than 30,000 down on some of those businesses. Okay. And we bought some of those businesses with no money out of pocket too. Okay. And then on top of that too, all of our businesses, we look for businesses that already have lean teams and proven systems that we could build on, because we're not trying to work in these businesses. We're trying to acquire staff and acquire systems that just produce cash flow that we can then build on. And that's the same approach we take with you. We don't want you to become an operator and become an e-com business expert overnight. That's impossible. We're helping you become an owner of assets where that business continues to perform and just reports to you and produces an impact to you every single month, and also over the next 12, 24 months leading up to you selling the business and getting a nice wire into your bank account when the business sells as well. Okay. And, these aren't outliers. These are normal people, as you just saw with Dirk and Jason, who followed this system and they got results. And every single person in our community, in our program, started exactly where you are right now. Okay. So, who is this for? Okay. So, this is for professionals and career changers. So, this is for someone that wants to own a cash flowing online business without years of trial and error. And basically, you're ready for a new path, like Jason that you just heard from. This is also for investors seeking better returns. You're tired of the 7% stock market returns on average, and you want the 30 to 50% returns possible in online businesses. We're talking yearly, okay? Or you're an entrepreneur who wants to skip the startup phase. I don't blame you. You don't want to spend 2 to 3 years building something from scratch. You want to buy something that already works. Also, we're looking for coachable action takers. You have capital to deploy, or you're willing to explore creative financing and you're ready to follow a proven process. Okay. So this isn't for everyone, but if you fall into any of those categories, then this is definitely for you. Okay. But this isn't for get rich quick seekers. If you're looking for overnight money with zero effort, this isn't it. Buying a business is real work. We have two different, tiers. For example, in our community, we have a done with you and a done for you. The done with you, Dirk, for example, went through that. He put the work in consistently. He was on it every single week, but it paid off. Now he owns a company doing 1.2 million a year and doing 350,000 a year in net profit. So if he can do it, you can do it. Okay. Also, this isn't for someone that's not willing to do due diligence. If you're not willing to invest time in learning and evaluating deals, this won't help you. This is also for someone that wants passive income, but with zero involvement. If you want to flip businesses with zero involvement or aren't willing to follow a systematic process, this isn't for you. Okay. So if that's you, comment that's me in the comments, because I want to see you guys like really chiming in here and identifying with, who we want to work with here. Okay. Okay. So here's your commitment. I need 3 things from you before we go any further. Number 1, keep an open mind. Some of this might seem too good to be true, but with creative financing, you can buy a business with little money down, maybe even no money down, like Dirk, for example. So trust the process until you see the math. Number 2, be ready to take action. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. The difference between success and failure is speed of implementation. Number 3, be open to getting help. If what I show you makes sense, be open to investing in yourself. That's the safest investment you can make. I did that back in 2013 when I started my business, and you could do it too. And I'll share with you how you can work with me directly. Okay. All right. Let's get real. You might be thinking, Josh, you've bought 19 businesses. You've done 30 million plus in sales. You must be some kind of genius. Well, I'm not. I'm not. This is where I started. I didn't come from money. I was a military brat. Okay. And if anybody has been in the military, which I was for 4 years, my dad was in the military when I was born. And he was literally like 21, and he was in the military for a few years. So I didn't come from money. He was enlisted. He didn't have a college education. He didn't make a whole lot of money. We didn't have a whole lot of money growing up. I've even told my son this. I didn't even have my first steak, I think, until like late in my high school years, for example. So, and I'm talking, red meat steak. I'm not, so, I mean, I didn't come from much. Okay. I didn't have connections in the business world. So I don't have an entrepreneur background. I don't have entrepreneur connections in my family, none of that. I started with nothing but a willingness to learn and take action. And my first business purchase, look, my first deal wasn't glamorous. I actually learned a lot during the first several deals. I can give you a whole book of lessons from like my first year or so of buying businesses. I made mistakes. I overpaid. I didn't know what due diligence really meant, but I learned. I failed forward is what that's called. Like if I failed, I then applied it and I improved the process and improved it to a point where it was a sharp sword that I was confident in using every single day, basically. And that experience became the foundation for everything that came after. But once I found the right process, everything changed. I developed a systematic approach to evaluating, financing, and transitioning into online businesses. And that first painful experience, over time, turned into a repeatable system. That's why we started doing this middle of last year in 2025 after buying businesses for several years, because after growing and optimizing our process, which we now call the acquisition method for evaluating a business, getting the right deal on a business, getting an owner, seller, or a broker to say yes to a deal, closing the deal, setting up the business for success. That all came from years of experience. And then once we had that in a system, then we were like, okay, let's create more impact. Let's help other people do what we've done. So this way they can create cash flow in their lives. They can have an opportunity to actually build wealth as well. And so that's where all that came from. And I did it again and again and again. 19 business acquisitions, 30 million plus in sales, 2-time Inc. 5,000 company. Okay. So I didn't have any advantages, and you don't have to worry about that. Okay. In fact, you have a massive advantage I didn't have when I started. You have someone who's already made the mistakes and built the system for you. Like I didn't have that when I started. You have that. Success in business acquisition is not about being the smartest person in the room. It's about having the right system and taking action fast. All right, so here's the big picture. Let's start with the full map. I want you to see the big picture before we zoom into each piece. So first off, what ARM5 actually stands for. So ARM5 is basically the marketing engine that makes these businesses valuable. We created this process back in 2020 after years of seeing it, but then not putting like a term behind it. And then we created, the ARM5 formula out of the success we were having from clients that we were working with when my company was a marketing agency. And the 5 profit amplifiers are the levers you pull post acquisition to multiply growth. Okay, so ARM5, this is what it stands for, just to show this with you guys. Number 1, A, authority. You're buying a business that already has trust and credibility. R, reciprocity. The audience already wants to buy. M, monetization. The revenue engine is already humming. It's already running. And then 5 is for the 5 profit amplifiers. And we're talking about retention, conversion, pricing, efficiency, and traffic. Okay. And then the ARM5 acquisition method, which is our process for buying a business and doing it at low risk, getting the best deal possible, and protecting your downside in the business. This way, the business has good projected cash flows after you buy it. It comes down to these 5 things. It comes down to evaluate, find deals worth buying using proven criteria. Number 2, finance, structure creative deals with little to no money down. Number 3, transition, take ownership without disrupting the business. Number 4, optimize, apply the 5 profit amplifiers to grow value. And number 5, scale, build a portfolio of cash flowing assets. Okay. So this is a counterintuitive approach. Most people think that you need years of experience, millions in capital, and a huge network. And the truth, you need a proven system, the right guidance, and the willingness to take action. Okay. So what makes this different? See, most programs, they teach theory. I give you a system. The other approaches, they hand you a book about mergers and acquisitions. They say, figure it out yourself. It's theory-based, very generic advice, and you're on your own. The ARM5 system, we put you in the passenger seat with us. You turn on the GPS with us, and I say, follow my lead, and then we'll have you closing deals literally within months, maybe weeks even, okay? So I'm not teaching from theory. I mean, I've personally bought, as you know, 19 online businesses since 2022, and I've done 30 million plus in portfolio sales since then. So you're learning from someone who does this every single day, okay? So you'll see real deals, real numbers. I'm not just going to tell you what to do. I'm going to show you real deal structures, real profit and loss statements, and real evaluation frameworks from my actual portfolio. And creative financing literally changes everything. There's so many ways to finance a business. There's a handful of ways we use commonly, though. And we've become experts at being able to get the deals done that we want to get done. I mean, I literally just told you the last business we bought was a $5 million a year business. We got it for $210,000 down. Okay. So So the parts that used to require hundreds of thousands in cash are now possible with seller financing, earnouts, and other creative deal structures. So this is designed for first-time buyers, not people who already own a portfolio, not people with mergers and acquisition experience, people buying their first online business. But why now? Well, right now, I mean, we're looking at the greatest wealth transfer in history for the people that act, for the people that act, for the people that stay on the sidelines and procrastinate, don't take action, or just keep doing the same thing that they're doing, even though they're not happy. But maybe they find happiness in late night drinking or just disconnecting on Friday nights and then wasting a weekend doing something. Unfortunately, those people may not take advantage of this opportunity, but you're here and you're the type of person that does take action. So you can participate in the greatest wealth transfer in history. I mean, baby boomers own millions of businesses, and as they retire, they need to sell. This is creating the largest wave of business transfers we've ever seen. And e-commerce is exploding. Everybody participates in e-commerce, whether it's a brand that you're a big fan of, or whether it's Amazon. And we all buy from Amazon. Uh, the global e-com market is literally 6.88 trillion right now. So it's a massive and growing market with thousands of businesses changing hands every year. And there's over 70,000 online businesses right now listed for sale, literally right now. And that's at any given time. And that's just the public market. Private deals multiply this number. Okay. And there's systems that we could help you install that would get business owners that aren't even selling yet to be like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm interested in selling. Let me connect with this guy, for example. Okay. All right. So before the traditional path, you start from scratch. It takes 2 to 3 years. 90% failure rate for startups. You spend 50,000 to 200,000, maybe even more building. And then there's no revenue for months. After, with the ARM5 method, you buy an existing business within 4 months or less. Proven revenue from day one. Creative financing with little to no money down. And you have cash flow literally on day one. You have it immediately. Okay. So the window is open right now. The opportunity exists. Seller financing is common. The market is still fragmented, but institutional money is starting to wake up to online business assets. But you can't do it alone. Without the right process, the right evaluation framework, the right deal structures, the right transition path, you'll end up buying a lemon possibly, or losing your deposit that you put down on that business. Not a good position to be in. You don't want to do that. Okay. So this is a proven process, and also with expert support. Again, 19 acquisitions of experience compressed into a system that anyone can follow. That's really what this is. That's what makes right now the best time in history to buy your first online business. So today I'm sharing my 3 biggest secrets to buying cash flowing online businesses. I'm going to walk you through each one step by step. Okay. Let's start with the first. I didn't invent business buying. I just systematized it so anyone, regardless of experience or capital, can do it safely and profitably. Okay. So here's secret number 1, the evaluation methodology. Okay. You don't need to find the deal. That's easy. You need to know which deals are worth buying. Okay. Most people are stuck in which deal mode. They spend weeks scrolling marketplaces, looking at hundreds of listings, falling in love with ideas instead of numbers. And they either buy the wrong business or they never buy at all. Okay. So most people think this. They think, I need to find the perfect deal. I need to find a business that has a product that is the right product. For example, I need to look at hundreds of listings. I need months of research. I need years of M&A experience. Well, that's just, opportunity cost. That's all that is. The truth is, you need a proven evaluation framework. The right system filters literally in minutes. Due diligence follows a checklist, and the math tells you everything. Okay. So the ARM5 evaluation framework is step 1, check the SDE. That stands for seller discretionary earnings. That's typically profit. It's the profit that the owner, seller is reporting. That's why it's called seller discretionary earnings. Okay. And you have to question, is the profit real? And there's ways to really check into that. Step 2, assess stability. Is the revenue consistent or is it volatile? You'll see that in the history of the business. And you'll see that in the profit and loss statements over the last 12, 24 months, month by month. Make sure you're looking at month by month. It's very easy to hide it if you're just looking at yearly, for example. You also want to get access to like Shopify or Amazon if you're buying an Amazon business, and look at the business sales reports and see the trends. And you can see it in graph form very easily on both of those platforms. This way you can see, is the revenue consistent or is it volatile? Because you don't want to buy a business that is declining. You want to buy a business that's either stable or growing. If it's stable, there's still a good opportunity there. Maybe, the business owner just is burnt out on the business, for example. Okay. Step 3, evaluate sustainability. Will this business exist in 2 years? For example, like around COVID, buying a business that sold ultraviolet filters and also electronic products that used UV filters would be a smart play. But is it now? No, it's not, right? So you want to think about, okay, will this business exist in 2 years? And you can use Google Trends. If you type in Google Trends, you can go to Google Trends. You can then type in the niche or the product name or the brand even, and you can kind of gauge if it's trending from those reports, for example, on Google search. Step 4, test scalability. Can you grow it with the 5 profit amplifiers? And that's just marketing due diligence and knowing how to look at marketing and knowing how to address gaps in a company's marketing, which the ARM5 evaluation framework helps you do that. Okay. Okay, let's talk about SDE for a moment, the number that matters most. Okay. So seller discretionary earnings is true profit after all owner benefits. If the owner works 80 hours a week and funds ads on personal credit cards, that's not a business, it's a job. Okay. So there's something there that you really want to look at when you're reviewing and doing due diligence on SDE and you're talking to the owner. You want to poke some holes into that and really address the SDE that's being reported and whether or not the owner is working in the business day in, day out, working 80 hours a week, or is it a turnkey business that has a system, has a team, because that's what you want. Okay. Okay. Here's a quote from Dirk. I joined the ARM5 formula program with zero money and learned how to evaluate e-commerce businesses. I've now acquired my first business doing over 1.2 million a year. Okay. See how simple that is? No fancy degree required. Just follow the framework, check the numbers, and the math tells you whether to move forward or to walk away. So 3 out of 4 deals I passed on using this exact framework. Knowing what to say no to is just as important as knowing what to buy. And this framework does both. Okay. So let me give you a contrast here. Without a system, emotional decisions based on gut feel, overpaying because you don't know the real value, missing hidden liabilities until it's too late, months of wasted time on dead end deals. Okay. Not good. With the ARM5 framework, data-driven scoring in under 30 minutes, know the exact fair market value before you offer, red flags surface automatically in due diligence, and you only spend time on deals that pass the filter. Okay, much more favorable position to be in. All right, let's talk about creative financing, number 2. Okay, so here's secret number 2. This is probably going to be the most popular secret. Okay, you can buy an online business with little to no money down. I've done it many, many, many times. Okay, most people think you need hundreds of thousands in cash, and that was me. I don't know, 7 years ago now. Okay, I thought you needed a bunch of cash to buy a business, but you don't. You don't need a bunch of cash. You don't need any cash even to buy a business, as long as you have a system and you know how to use that system to be able to get the deal you want. Okay, and we help you do that, and we've done it. So we know the system works. They assume that business buying is only for the wealthy, for people with millions in the bank, for Wall Street types. That's not the case. Okay, that's the biggest myth in this industry. Biggest myth. And that was a myth I fell for, like I said, maybe 7 or so years ago, earlier in my entrepreneur journey. So most people think this. They think that I need 500,000 or more in cash, or I need perfect credit and an SBA loan. It's the only way this can happen. Not the case. Banks are the only option. Not the case. I can't afford to buy a business. Anybody, literally anybody, can buy a business, whether you have a 550 credit score or a 750 credit score, whether you have no money in the bank or whether you have hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank, literally. Okay. So here's the truth. The truth is that creative financing changes everything. Seller financing aligns incentives between you and the owner, the seller. Many deals need little to no money down. Okay. And the business pays for itself. So there's not as much risk here as most people think when you structure the deals correctly and you're using tools and a process. Okay. Okay. So here's why I choose seller financing over SBA loans. Because a lot of people know SBA loans, look into it, think that that's one of the best ways to buy a business. In my opinion, it's not. And here's why. Okay. Speed. That's a big one. Okay. You can close in weeks with seller financing or other creative financing structures in your deal. And that's better than months of bank bureaucracy. Going through the SBA loan process, it takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of time to get approved. And when you're trying to keep the owner seller engaged, it's really hard to do that when it's going to take several months to get the deal closed. So, people don't necessarily want to go for that. So speed sucks when it comes to SBA loans. Flexibility, custom terms that work for both parties when you have seller financing or other forms of creative financing. Okay. Alignment, the seller stays invested in your success. They get paid as you succeed. See, an SBA loan puts all that risk on you because you go, you get an SBA loan, you buy the business with the SBA loan. Well, it's much better to have a shared risk deal where the owner, the seller, is invested in you taking over the business and continuing to have success with the business. Much more favorable. Okay. Also, accessibility. No massive down payment. You still need to put a down payment with an SBA loan. You need to put like 12% down. So, to give you an example, if you're buying $1 million business, then you have to put down 120,000. Do you want to put down 120,000? Probably not. Okay. And also, there's no personal collateral requirements when you're using creative financing like seller financing, for example. Whereas with an SBA loan, you have a personal guarantee, which, I tell everybody that I connect with in my community, outside of it, don't ever sign a PG. Don't ever sign a personal guarantee. Okay. And you have to do that with an SBA loan. You don't want to do that. Okay. So how seller financing works. The seller acts as the bank. You make installment payments over time instead of paying upfront. The seller stays aligned with your success. It's a win-win. Most beginners never negotiate. Okay, here's a quote from Jason Decker. I spent 26 years working in automotive, stuck in the rat race, and barely seeing my family. With the help of the ARM5 team, I was able to buy my first business in about 4 months. Okay, going back to what we were talking about. So see how accessible that is with creative financing versus SBA loans. No $1 million bank account required, no lengthy SBA loan process, just a smart deal structure that works for everyone involved. And that's how you can get a business for no money out of pocket. Zero out of pocket is how I was able to acquire my first seller financed acquisition. Okay. And you could do it too. It was 100% seller finance, and you could find those businesses. It's a numbers game. And then there's an art to it. You have to know how to pitch, I call it stacking the deck in your favor. And there's a way to do that in the due diligence process. And we've got a really solid process that I'd love to share with you that will help you do the same. This way, when you go talk to an owner, go talk to a seller, you get the deal that you want. Okay. Okay. So let's compare here. Traditional buying, you need 100,000 to 500,000 in savings or an SBA loan. It takes about 6 to 12 months of bank paperwork. There's personal guarantees and collateral required. Banks say no to 80% of online businesses. They prefer businesses that are brick and mortar, boring businesses that don't put off as much cash flow, aren't as scalable, so you can't even make that much money from it. And also the valuation of those businesses versus like an online business is much less. So, it's not really giving you the best possible acquisition either. Okay. Now, creative financing, you can start with little to no money out of pocket. You can close in 30 to 60 days. Business profits pay the acquisition costs, and this works for any online business model. All right. Okay, so that wraps up secret number two. Secret number three, the ownership transition. So closing the deal is literally just the beginning. How to transition into ownership without disrupting the business. Now, most people think the work is done once you sign the papers. They celebrate closing day and then wake up the next morning wondering, what do I do now? And the first 90 days are the most dangerous days in an acquisition because right after the purchase of the business, that's when the most value in a business could be lost. And bad transitions destroy good businesses. Without a transition plan, here's what happens: key staff leaves in confusion, not good. Customers experience disruption, again, not good. You're scrambling to figure out operations, again, not good. And revenue drops as chaos increases, not good. That's not the business that you scoped out that you wanted to buy. That wasn't what you saw after you bought the business. And now you have more stress. You don't want that. Okay. Now, with the ARM5 transition system, existing team stays in place with very clear roles. Customers notice that nothing, absolutely nothing, changes those first 90 days. Okay. SOPs and reporting from day one. A lot of businesses, they have processes and they may have some reporting, but they probably have opportunities to improve and become more optimal businesses from a culture standpoint. And that's what's in the ARM5 transition system, for example. Okay. And then revenue continues and grows. We have a very comprehensive ARM5 audit process that leads to some immediate wins. So this way you can increase the business's revenues and profits very quickly, literally within the first 30, 60 days max. Okay. All right. So the three pillars of a successful transition: staffing, keep the existing team, document roles, establish clear communication. Reporting, set up weekly dashboards and KPIs from day one. Know your numbers, very important. Rhythm, establish the operating rhythm of the business. Weekly reviews, monthly goals, quarterly planning. That all contributes to that. Okay, so how I transition into a new business. So week one, team meetings, meet every employee, understand roles, build trust as the new owner. Week two, SOP documentation, document every process, workflow, and system. We actually have an AI agent now, an AI employee that we can install in a business that can do all this, can organize all the SOPs in the business, and can also create more SOPs as well. So we install this way, we can get to this point very quickly without a whole lot of time being put into the business to be able to get this part done in the process. Week three, reporting setup. Install dashboards, KPIs, key performance indicators, and financial tracking. Very, very important. We have a standard process for that that's very effective and really establishes a culture of performance and a culture of accountability that we install. And then week four, optimization begins. And this is where we apply the 5 profit amplifiers. Okay, so this is how you own a portfolio, not a group of jobs, because the idea here for you is not to get another job. That's not the case. Going through this process, we don't set you up for that. We set you up to become an owner of an asset, okay? An owner of an asset. Very similar to like if you owned real estate that was rented, for example, okay? Very similar to that. So it's all about this. It's all about systems over talent, reporting over guessing, rhythm over chaos. And when you transition correctly, you own an asset, okay? Like I said, not another job, okay? That's not the point here. All right. So it's 90 days from closing to fully systematized ownership. On one of my acquisitions, I retained the entire team, documented every process, and grew revenue 25%, all within the first quarter. Okay. Very easily done. Very easily done. Okay. You don't have to quit your day job. A lot of people think that they do to become a business owner. That's not the case. I get text messages from people that are interested in what we do, but they're like, a lot of times they're putting fear first, just due to ignorance, and instead of just giving this an honest shot and looking into it, you don't have to quit your day job. Okay. A lot of people think that you do, but that's not the case whatsoever. So most of my acquisitions were managed alongside other projects. The transition system is designed for busy professionals. So weeks 1 through 2, you shadow the seller and document all systems. Weeks 3 through 4, you begin managing with seller still on standby. Weeks 5 through 8, full ownership with automated reporting now. And then week 9 plus, you're the owner working on the business, not in it. Okay. All right. Just want to make sure you're tracking along. Give me like a thumbs up in the chat or raise the roof or whatever emoji is your favorite. Doesn't matter. Just want to make sure you're still with me. So if you're tracking along, comment right now so I can make sure you're still with me on this. Okay. All right. Cool. All right. So each secret is powerful on its own, but together they create a seamless system for finding, financing, and transitioning into a cash flowing online business in 4 months or less. So let's recap. Okay, there's 3 secrets here that we went over. Okay, and the process is evaluate, finance, transition, optimize, scale. Secret number 1 was the evaluation methodology, knowing which deals are worth buying. That's what we went over. Secret number 2 is creative financing, buying with little to no money down. There's various ways to do that: seller financing, earnouts, taking not a personal loan, but getting the business that you're buying to take out a loan in the process, and that loan goes to the owner as the down payment, and then you buy the business and the business pays off the loan, for example. That's another way. There's several other ways too, but there's so many different ways to get a business with little to no money down. And then secret number 3, the ownership transition. Protect your investment from day one. We went over that in detail as well. Okay. And as I mentioned, this all came from 19 businesses acquired since 2022, 30 million plus in portfolio sales, and also getting on the Inc. 5000 2 years in a row, the last 2 years. Okay. So I'm going to stop for a sec, get some water. I definitely could use some water. Let me know that you got value so far out of this webinar. Give me like a comment, give me a thumbs up. So this way I can make sure that you got plenty of value from today's webinar. And guys, it is very important too that I drink water in Arizona, because you definitely need it. I see some questions here in the comments. We'll go through every single question. So if you put a question in there, great, thank you. We'll make sure to address your question by the end of the webinar today. Okay, guys? So just want to make sure you know that. Okay. Let me ask you this: do I have permission to share how I can help you with this? Give me a thumbs up. I don't want to waste your time. I want to make sure that you're open to it. So in the comments, just give me a thumbs up. Say, okay, sure. Say, go for it. Whatever. Just give me an acknowledgement that you're okay with me sharing how I can help you. All right. Awesome. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. Michael, thank you. Another Michael. So, yeah. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, cool. All right. So I'm just going to dive in. Here we go. Okay. So you might be right here. You're at a crossroads. But what if I had a proven system? That's what you want to ask yourself, that walked you through every single step from finding the right deal to closing it and transitioning into ownership. Okay. Now you have 3 options here. You're at a fork in the road, basically. You could do nothing. You could leave this webinar, forget everything, and keep doing what you've been doing. You can keep watching YouTube. You can keep researching. You keep telling yourself you'll buy a business someday. Well, talk is cheap. My dad used to tell me that. Talk is cheap. It's all about taking action, guys. All right. Second option, do it yourself. You could do that. You could take what you learned and try to figure it out alone. Honorable, but expect 12 to 18 months and potentially 6 figures in mistakes. Most people who try alone never close a deal. That's truth. Okay. Or you could join ARM 5, the acquisition method. You could follow my step-by-step system. Use my tools and frameworks and buy your first online business within 4 months. Every single agreement we sign with every client has a guarantee within 4 months or less. Okay. And this is with expert guidance every step of the way. This is the most popular option for anybody that comes to these webinars. And here's how it works. I've put together a complete system that walks you through every step of finding, evaluating, financing, and closing your first online business acquisition. Now, let me break this down for you. Okay. So as I've already mentioned, our process is called the ARM5 acquisition method. This is the complete system to take you from 0 deals to owning a cash flowing online business in 4 months or less. And this isn't just another course, not like that. This is a high level mentorship and implementation program that covers everything from finding your first deal to closing it and then scaling it with expert guidance every step of the way. So here's what's inside. you get access to our deal analyzer and valuation models. This allows you to instantly evaluate businesses with proprietary templates. You can input your metrics, see revenue trends, profit margins, and also suggested offer ranges as well. This way you're not overpaying for businesses ever again. Okay. This is done with an AI app that we built that we give you access to. And then you also get access to our due diligence vault. And this is where there's literally pre-built 100+ point checklist. There's also financial ratio calculators and traffic analyzers, which ensures comprehensive evaluation. This is the system that's protected me from bad deals for years. So the value of this is literally like $10,000. Plus you get legal contracts and deal templates. These are attorney design, purchase agreements, LOIs, letter of intents, negotiation scripts that eliminate legal guesswork and save you money too. This way you don't spend $5,000 on a lawyer to draft these from scratch. So the value of this is literally $5,000, if not more. And then you've got the growth and optimization swipe files. These are ready to use marketing assets and also SOPs to boost performance immediately after acquisition. And this is the exact strategies I've used to scale businesses worth millions in potential revenue, literally. And the value of this is at least $1 million, just because, it's done way more than that since we've been using all these strategies and processes over the last 13 years now. Okay. Also, you get weekly coaching calls. So these are live Q&A sessions with me, with my head of acquisition, Jeff, who you heard some great things about from Jason in his video. So you have guys here that are going to be in your corner every single day. It's going to help you. They are going to help you throughout the entire process. This way you can continue to overcome any challenges. You can continue to learn the process. You can get to the level of success. That's why we guarantee success within 4 months or less. Okay. So with the weekly coaching calls, you get real-time guidance on everything from deals, the due diligence process, and even scaling tactics after you've bought a business. This way you're never making a decision alone. So this alone is worth about $12,000 a year. Okay. And then you also get access to an exclusive mastermind community. You'll join a private community of high performers, driven people just like you, where you can talk about deal opportunities. Other people are going to be presenting and talking about deal opportunities, and you can do the same. You can also create partnerships. You can leverage that, whether it's to do deals together or whether it's to help each other grow your businesses by doing like cross promotions, for example. So there's plenty of other driven, determined wealth builders just like you that you're going to build long-term relationships with by being a part of our community. Okay. And then you do get lifetime access to this too. Okay. Lifetime access. So you remain part of the ARM5 family after the program completion. So after you buy your first business, you're still in. You can continue to leverage all the resources. You can continue to come to the coaching calls. You could buy more businesses. It's fine. It's totally up to you. So you get access to ongoing community support, alumni events, and deal sharing opportunities. And then also after booking, you'll get a one-on-one strategy session to map out your specific path to your first acquisition. And this is going to be customized to your capital experience and your goals. We help you come up with the plan. This way, you know what your plan is and also what your buy box is. And the value of this is about $1,000. Okay. And again, all this is derived. I've said this a few times, but it's coming from real experience here. 19 businesses acquired since 2022, 30 million plus in total sales since then, 2-time Inc. 5,000 over the last 2 years. And we've evaluated hundreds and hundreds of deals. Okay. So let's talk value. What people spend trying to do this on their own. So an MBA program is one way possibly to learn mergers and acquisitions. This would cost you $80,000 to $150,000 on average. Or hiring a business broker, which, they've got their own goals and interests in mind. But this would cost you about $30,000 to $50,000 in fees. Or there's attorney fees for deal structuring, which will cost you about $5,000 to $15,000 versus, getting our help, which is part of the program, which is, included. We can talk about one bad deal here due to poor due diligence, which could cost you $10,000 to $100,000, maybe even more, which you want to avoid that. Okay. So the total risk without a system is literally $50,000 to 300,000, maybe even more. Okay. Whereas ARM 5 gives you everything in one place for a fraction of what you'd spend making mistakes on your own. So total value breakdown here, you've got the deal analyzer and valuation models, that's $500. You've got the due diligence vault, which is 100 plus points, 10,000. You've got the legal contracts and deal templates, which is 5,000. You've got the growth and optimization sweat files, which is literally worth over $1 million. You've got the weekly coaching calls, which is about 12,000. You've got exclusive mastermind community, which is priceless. Lifetime network access, which is priceless. And you also get a personalized strategy session, which is $1,000. Okay. So the total real world value here is literally just over $1 million, as you can see here, but I would never charge you that much. Okay. So here's the thing. I'm not going to throw a price up on screen and ask you to buy right now. That's not how this works. Every person on this call is in a different situation, different capital, different experience, different goals. So we take a personalized approach here. Okay, this isn't a numbers game. This is a quality game. Your next step isn't a checkout page. It's a conversation. Okay, a strategy session where I personally map out a plan for your situation. So I've found that the people who get the best results are the ones that start with a clear plan customized to their situation. That's why the next step isn't a checkout page. It's a conversation. Okay. Okay, so again, this is everything that's inside the ARM 5 formula acquisition method. If interested, your next step is literally to book your free online business buying strategy session. Okay, I'm going to put a link in the comments here. This is a $1,000 plus value. I literally charge thousands of dollars to work with the company, and I'm doing this 100% for free. And so if you want one of these, click the link in the chat to book your session now. There's limited spots available. I only have, so much time, as you can imagine. I am running a 2-time Inc. 5,000 company, but I'm happy to open my doors and work with people because I'm all about creating impact, and I want to create a lot of impact with the people that I serve throughout my life. And this is how I do it. Okay. And also your investment, it's protected. We have an ARM 5 formula guarantee. I mentioned this earlier if you didn't catch that. So let's just say you join the program and you follow the system and work with us and you use our tools and our frameworks. If you're not in a position to buy a business within 4 months, we'll continue to work with you until you are. But the average person buys a business within 4 months or less. And that's why we have it in every single agreement. Okay. So there's really zero risk. You either get results or we keep working with you until you do. You literally have nothing to lose and a cash flowing business to gain. But wait, there's more. We have some exclusive bonuses you'll get when you book your session, but it's only during this live training. Anybody else that books, they don't get this, but you get this. Okay. Number one, you get our business acquisition readiness scorecard. So this is a self-assessment tool that scores your readiness across 5 key areas: capital, credit, time, knowledge, and mindset. And it gives you a clear action plan to close any gaps before you start looking at deals. Okay, bonus number 2. So I'm not done. You get a first call script pack, exactly what to say when contacting sellers and brokers. Most beginners blow the deal in the first 5 minutes because they sound like a tire kicker. These scripts help you sound like a sophisticated buyer immediately. Okay. Also, bonus number 3 from my good friend, New York Times bestselling author, Wall Street Journal's bestselling author, Garrett Gunderson. We give you the Tax Navigator by him. And he's published several award-winning books. He's super smart when it comes to everything, when it comes to growing your wealth, and you get this 100% free. This is a complete guide to legal tax strategies for business owners, covering entity structuring, deductions, and keeping more of what you earn because you deserve that. Because it's not just about buying cash flow; it's about keeping it. If you talk to any wealthy person out there, they'll tell you there's 2 different skill sets. There's making money and there's keeping and also growing your money. And that will help you keep and grow your money. Okay. All right. So a few facts here. 6 million small businesses are changing hands as boomers retire. 48% of boomer owners plan to exit within 3 years. And there's over 5 trillion in private business assets entering the market. This is Forbes this year. Okay. I built this system because I was tired of watching good people lose money on bad deals. Every tool, every template, every framework in ARM 5 exists because I needed it myself first. And that's truth. Okay. If all these people are getting results, isn't it possible that you can too? Of course it is. Okay. I hope that you got that by the end of this, that you believe that you can do this too. Okay. If you're going to get anything out of this, at least get that. Okay. And the big one, if you're one of the first people who book during this training, then I'm going to give you also this bonus. Okay. This is our golden goose bonus. This is a personal deal review. So for the next 5 people who book their session after you sign up for the program, I'll personally hop on a call with you to review your first target deal. And this is going to just help you with the learning curve, just shrink it very quickly. And because I'm going to help you by getting my eyes on the potential purchase, and I'm going to give you all sorts of different feedback. This way, you know how to approach a business, how to do due diligence very quickly, because I'm going to help you do it hands-on. This is literally like a $2,000 plus value, and it's 100% free for the next 5 people who book a session from this. Okay. So go ahead, click the link in the chat to book now. Book your free strategy session immediately. And again, once you join the acquisition method, you get all this, which is over $1 million in value. And just keep this in mind. All right. If you do nothing, nothing will change. Okay. That's literally like the definition of chaos. You'll still be thinking about buying a business 6 months from now, a year from now, 5 years from now. Time escalates. It's a slippery slope when you don't take action. Okay. But if you do take action today, what if you book the session this week? What if you find your first deal within 60 days? What if you're a business owner within 4 months? What if this is the decision that literally changes everything? Okay. Definitely could. This decision could define your financial future. It's true. Very, very true. And remember, we have a guarantee in every single agreement with every client we work with. If it doesn't work, we keep working with you until it does. This way, there's zero risk, and you know for sure that we're with you all the way until you have success. Okay, so last chance, click the link right now in the chat. Get on my calendar. Again, zero risk, plus you get all these bonuses because you're here and you're booking right now and you're taking action. I like to reward action takers because that's who I am, and I want to be around other action takers as well. So click on that link, and now I'm going to go ahead and just open up Q&A. I know there's some questions that have been submitted over the last 60 plus minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and just go through those, and this way I can address everybody's questions. If you have questions you haven't posted yet, post them in the comments now. This way we can go through them. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So here we go. Let me know if there's a few questions here. All right. So first question. So Joe, thank you for the question. I'm going to show your question on screen. You only buy online businesses. Personally, yes, we only buy online businesses. But we can help you buy any type of business, really. And we're all about making sure that you're excited. You're excited about the business we help you buy. So if you have a specific type of business you want help buying, we can, let's talk. We can definitely help you do that. Okay. So thank you, Joe, for the question. I appreciate it. All right. I'm going to keep going down these questions. Anthony said, will I get a replay of the webinar today? Yes, we're going to be sending out a replay. Usually takes us to think about maybe 3 or 4 hours after we close out. So yes, you'll definitely see that replay going out. All right. And then Mike, why does it take 4 months? Well, it can actually be very quick. It just, it depends on the level. Like we've got 2 options. We've got the done with you, done for you. Done with you, is just like Dirk said, it'll take about 4 months, more or less. But if you're going through the done for you, that's us doing it for you. So it doesn't really require any work on your part. It literally takes like 1 phone call a week with us. And then as we get to the finish line on a deal, there might be more time than we need from you to be able to close the deal out, sign paperwork, things like that, meet the owner, seller. But that track can happen very fast, literally within weeks. The done with you, it can happen definitely faster, but it's going to come down to you. It's going to come down to showing up, putting the work in, asking lots of questions, basically being like an A+ student. If you really want to shrink that, which you totally can, then you have to be an A+ student. You have to show up. If you show up, then absolutely you could shrink that from 4 months. But yeah, great question. Thank you so much for asking that question, Mike. I appreciate it. Okay, here's another question from Anthony. I'm gonna get some water. How do you generate deal flow? Are these off-market deals? Well, first off, there's directories, Flippa, Empire Flippers, Biz Buy Sell, Searchlight. There's others. There's already thousands of businesses for sale just from those websites. So deal flow is easy. That's the easy part. And we even have a system that's very quick and easy to install. You could actually have AI install it. We can show you how. You don't have to do any of the work. You can literally tell AI, hey, follow this process, install it into my business, and it'll do it literally. And that would allow you to then have an automated process that finds business owners in the niche you're trying to approach. Maybe it's ecom, maybe it's not. Reach out to those business owners, start a conversation with them automatically. You didn't do anything. It's the system. And this system and the copy, the messaging gets them to really open up and get curious and want to explore selling their business. And then they reach out to you and they book a time with you. And that's a way to get off market deal flows through that system, that process that we give you access to that could be literally installed by AI within a matter of hours at the most. So that's another way you can get deal flow. Plus, we also have brokers in our community. We have several brokers that we've already vetted, that we know, like, and trust, that are pushing deals into the community every week. So there's so much deal flow. Deal flow is not the issue. Deal flow is easy. It's just using the system to go through it, do the due diligence, talk to the owner seller, poke holes the right way, like ask the hard questions, really identify the truth of the business, and then get the owner seller to agree to the offer that you want them to agree to, and then making sure that the offer also can fit into the cash flow projections while still leaving plenty of cash flow for you. That's key too. And we've got a whole system for that and an AI that we've built that you get access to that helps you do that. Okay. So thank you, Anthony, for the question. Appreciate it. All right, Praveen, what methods, here I'm gonna put on screen real quick. What methods would we be using to find deals for sale? Well, I just answered that. Praveen, let me know if you have any questions about anything I just said, but I just went over that in detail. All right, Mike, thank you for being here. I know you got a jet. Thank you so much. I'll see you on my calendar soon. All right, Praveen, good question. Are there marketing costs? If so, what are they generally? No, there's not. No, the goal is to, again, our system protects the cash flow of the business after the offer. So this way you have cash flow to put into the business to continue to grow the business. So this way you're not spending any money on marketing costs, to your question. Okay. So no, to answer your question. All right. Okay, I'm gonna close that out. And Jason's got a question here. You cut out on my end. Did you go over pricing, or is that done on the call? Yeah, it's done on the call. And regardless of the investment, we have a financing department ran by Linda, and she can get almost anybody approved for financing. So this way you can actually work with us with no money out of pocket. So there's plenty of ways for you to get started right away. Okay. All right. So thank you, Jason, for the question. I appreciate it. It was not a question. Sorry about that. All right. And then, yes, Praveen, you said you were clarifying your question. I meant marketing for deals, but I think you already answered that. Correct. Yeah, you don't need to put money into marketing for deals whatsoever. There's thousands of businesses for sale you can easily find. Plus, there's the system that we give you that brings in deal flow from people that aren't open, that haven't even registered their business for sale yet, but they become open to doing a deal with you because of the messaging in the templates that we install and send out using that system. And plus, we have brokers, as I mentioned before, in our community that are producing deal flow every week just to make it a little easier for you too. Okay. Do you help with brick and mortar or just e-commerce? Yeah, brick and mortar is easy. So and the reason why is because brick and mortar businesses are not very sophisticated marketers typically. And so the things that we do are just like mind blowing for brick and mortar businesses. So yes, we can absolutely help with brick and mortar businesses. E-commerce, obviously is digital, so it's most business owners in e-commerce are more sophisticated, but they're still not doing a lot of things that they could be doing, just because, they're typically in love with the brand, the product, or the operations, or they're just good at one thing when it comes to marketing, but not good at other things when it comes to marketing. And so they're able to grow to a certain point, but they're not able to grow past that. So yes, we can definitely help you with brick and mortar. So thank you for the question, Jason. Appreciate it. Um, yeah, Praveen. I'll put the link here from YouTube. It's on YouTube. So here, I'll just give you the link. This way you can um, go through the testimonials if you'd like afterwards. So just give me a sec and grab it for you. Okay, Praveen, it's in the chat. So feel free to click on that and that'll take you to the two videos. Okay. All right, guys, I've got 7 more minutes here. Any other questions? Let me know in the comments. All right, what other questions do you guys have for me? About anything I covered, about business buying, about e-commerce, about marketing, scaling businesses, AI, anything and everything. Okay, here's a question. Okay, cool. Praveen, I'm going to post your question on screen. This way people can see it. Here we go. Okay, how often are deals done without money down or with little money down? Just about always. Just about always. You know, yeah. I mean, if that's the deal you want to get done, you can get it done, and we know how. So yeah. So just about all of our deals are done without money down or with little money down. Just about all of them. Okay, and then what percentage of the time was the next question? You'll have to explain that question, Praveen. What percentage of the time? Oh, what percentage of the time? Oh, I see what you're saying. Um, literally like 90% plus of our deals in our community or by us, directly are with little to no money down. And I say little, in like perspective of the size of the business. Like I said, the last business we just bought is doing 5.3 million a year. We bought it for 210,000 down, for example. So, but for like a smaller business, like maybe what you would buy, you're going to put very little money down, very small numbers. So thank you for the question, Praveen. Appreciate it. All right, guys. What are the questions you guys have for me? Okay, Praveen, keep the questions coming. Love it. He asked, and the average deal is 180,000 in net profit. Yeah, at minimum, correct. So, yep, because that's a business only doing 15,000 in net profit a month, which is, very easy business to buy with little to no money down. That's why that's like the average deal. You could buy a bigger business for sure, but that is the average deal. And Praveen says, wow, I agree. Yes, I know. Okay, Anthony, thank you for the question. Put it on screen. Any industries you avoid or target in targeting businesses? Yeah, this is a really good question. So apparel, don't buy apparel because apparel is all about trends, and typically they're selling after the trend has died. So you don't want to buy apparel businesses. You don't want to buy drop shipping. The only time you want to buy drop shipping if it's like high ticket US based drop shipping. Um, because then, for one, shipping is quicker, and also, high ticket, it's fine. People that are buying like furniture, for example, they know it's going to take some time for them to receive it, right? But drop shipping for like $20 widgets and stuff like that, yeah, don't do it. Don't ever buy stuff like that. Um, Businesses also that are like almost like mini Amazons or mini Walgreens stores that have like all sorts of products that don't have like a consistent theme. Like, those are not good businesses either to buy, because those businesses are you can't really scale it nearly as fast, or as smoothly as a business that has less. I mean, good example here is like Apple. Back in the 90s, early 90s, or yeah, or mid 90s or so. Actually, I think it was early 2000s. So back then they had a large suite of products, right? But they had all this inventory they were sitting on that they were paying for. They also had just a complex business plan because they needed marketing for all sorts of different products, and they weren't they weren't doing well. They were, at that point, they were dying. Apple was. But then Steve Jobs came back, and he said, okay, we're getting rid of all these products. We're going to liquidate all this inventory. We're only going to focus on this, and this, and that's it, right? And the lesson there is that a simpler business is easier to scale, and less riskier too. And so that's why you never want to buy like that type of business. Okay, so but as far as like a lot of people try to find like the trending business or the trending product, because they're putting so much pressure on. If I'm going to buy a business, I got to make sure it's the right business. I got to make sure it's the right idea. I got to make sure it's the right product. But ideas are a dime a dozen. And on top of that too, if there is competition, that's a good thing, because that shows you that there's a market, there's people that are buying. And so you don't want to overthink that. You really just want to look at a business without that lens, and just be open-minded, and just make sure you're avoiding those types of businesses I mentioned. And just, if the business has been successful, that has a good marketing system, it's producing cash flow, it's producing sales every single day, it's stable, or it's growing even better, then that's a good business to buy in a nutshell. Okay. There's a little bit more to it, but in a nutshell, that is the case. So thank you, Anthony, for the question. Keep it coming. Okay, Jason's got a question. I'm going to show it. Do you look or help with what businesses may be affected by AI, affected in a negative way? Not sure what your question is exactly, Jason, here. So you might have to maybe ask a different question in a different way. But with online businesses, they're really at the intersection of AI right now. So it's great business to be a part of. Like buying a SaaS business software like 12 months ago was not, it was good 12 months ago, or more, especially more. But now though, it's like risky, because you've got other people that can vibe code and create software very quickly, creating a lot of competition, for software businesses. So software businesses um, aren't as great right now to buy due to the trends happening in AI. Whereas e-com online businesses that can incorporate AI systems and AI employees, this way you can create a lean business, which means more profits. Plus, with all the AI systems being able to perform 24/7, perform better than the average human, I mean, then that's the perfect type of business to take advantage of the trends today, right? So I'm not sure if I answered your question there, because I don't know exactly what your question was, but um, when it comes to like AI and using AI, I highly recommend online businesses, because they're perfect right now for the trends right now happening with AI. Oh, okay. Your question is, which businesses would be AI proof? Well, I guess I just answered that, didn't I? Yeah, I mean, online businesses right now are AI proof, like physical product businesses. Um, Software businesses are obviously risky now. Even like digital product businesses are definitely risky because AI can quickly create content, and you know the unique IP of the digital products that a company may have. Um, Someone else can create something very similar very fast. So it's definitely not great to be in that type of business either. Um, you know, brick and mortar, again, the multiples of brick and mortar businesses are lower than online. That's why I don't recommend boring businesses. But they definitely can benefit from AI quite a bit. Because most of the time they're not very sophisticated on the tech front. So it's a big impact when you can apply AI at a very high level, um, which could impact the multiples because an AI native boring business versus a non AI native boring business is going to get a much higher multiple, much higher valuation. So that should answer your question as far as what businesses are AI proof. I still believe that online businesses is the best businesses right now to buy because they're native to AI. They're ready. I mean, they're ready for agentic AI. Like for example, we're building out AI employees right now, and that's going to change the game for us. And also, when we spin it off into a software, it's going to change the game too for a lot of ecom businesses out there too. Okay, so here we go. Praveen, did I miss the pricing, or is that something to be discussed on the call? It's going to be discussed on the call, just so you know. But as I mentioned earlier, because someone had a similar question, we also have a whole financing department. So this way you can literally work with us with no money out of pocket. Okay, and just about everybody can get approved, regardless of credit level. All right, thank you, Praveen, for the question. Jason says, "What examples of ecom?" Can you add a little bit more context to that question, Jason? What are you asking exactly with what examples of ecom? So if you could expand on that, that'd be awesome. Okay, ecom businesses you like? I like businesses that are winning, cash flowing businesses on day zero and are not apparel, not drop shipping, and are US based. So that's literally it in a nutshell. So, you don't have to put too much pressure on yourself when it comes to finding the right business. It's just literally find a business that's a day zero winner, a winner before you bought it. And then make sure you get the right deal on the business. So this way the business has plenty of cash flow. This way you're benefiting from it right away, and the business has cash to grow too. And there's ways to structure the deal to make sure you get the right deal done. So and then another question, kind of similar. Praveen says, "Are there specific types of products?" Again, it's really not about the product. It's about, is it a winning business? Is it a winning business? Is it well run? Does it have good systems? Is it scalable? It's not about the product. If you're outside, I used to think that a long time ago now, that you had, in order to be successful in business, you had to have the right idea, the right product, and that's not the case. Okay, not the case. All right, I got time for one more question. Then I gotta jump. I'm actually a little bit late for a commitment, but it's okay. So one more question. I'll take one more question. Then I'm going to wrap up. The booking link too, by the way, we've already had some bookings come in. Congrats on the people that claimed. But if you want to book, click on that link right now. Looks like my schedule is already filling up. So if you want to get on my calendar, be sure to click on that link this week and get on my calendar. All right. Who's going to submit the last question? One more question, guys. Okay. Praveen's claimed it. Okay. All right. Do you look for a certain length of time that these businesses are profitable for them to be a deal? Um, yeah. I mean, I really look for tenure, but I also look for profitability during that tenure. So basically, I look for businesses that are at least 2 years old minimum, and are also profitable those 2 years too, at minimum. That's at minimum. The longer, the better, because the more tenured the business, the better. Okay. I'm going to give a bonus question before I close out. Michael said, if I come on board, I think is what you meant, and part of your company or can invest in it. So right now, we don't have any rounds open to invest in my company, so that's not available. But we're going to open up a round to invest in our company soon. We're actually, I believe, in about 30 or so days. Um, so there will be an opportunity soon. But for now, if you come on board, it's your company. You're the 100% owner. You own 100% equity in the company that we help you buy. And then after you buy the company, you'll have the opportunity to have us be an advisor in your company where we would have a 10% stake and we would be invested in your short term, long term success. And we would work with you hands on too in growing the business as well. So that's something we can extend you after you buy a business as well. So that should answer your question. So let me know if you have any additional questions. I want to make sure you get the clarity you're wanting from your question. So if I answered it, just give me a thumbs up. If you have something else you were asking there that I did not answer, just let me know what that is. All right, sounds good, Praveen. Congrats. All right, all right. Okay, Michael, give me a thumbs up. I want to make sure before I jump that I answered your question. Perfect. Awesome. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. Looking forward to serving you further and having a great impact on you. Book a time with me. Get on my calendar. I still have some openings. Looking forward to helping you buy a business. And this way you can acquire cash flow and you can build wealth by being a business owner. And you can follow in our footsteps. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I will see you soon.